Hi, my name is OSHEEN, and in this video we are going to discuss how I do mixing on my headphones. I own a couple of headphones by Audio Technica. I have M20X, M40X and M50X, but I personally prefer M40X for mixing because I have been using it for quite some time, and I believe that is most flat headphones that you can find out if you're on a budget. For mixing tracks, I usually rely on my ears and a reference track. But I found out softwares that can emulate studio-like acoustics within your headphones. Now, that might not be 100% accurate, and there is a big difference on mixing within headphones and mixing in an actual speakers. But there are plugins that can emulate those acoustics. Not 100% accurate, but yeah, it definitely helps in the mix. So one such plugin is by Sonic. It's called Realphones, and they are kind enough to sponsor this video, and they're also offering 45% off if you download it from the link in the description. So how you use it is basically, I have opened up a new project and just loaded FL keys, and on the master channel I'm going to add the VST plugin Realphones, and this is how it looks like. Now, I have been using this software for almost a month now, and I really enjoy using it because when I have the final track, I can actually emulate it in different kind of setup. Or so for example, this is the normal version. If I want to emulate it in a mono environment, I can just select true mono. If I want to emulate it on how it sounds on a particular studio monitor, there are different monitor presets to choose from. It also has a roomy preset on how the mix will actually sound in a very roomy environment. So apart from the presets, there are other settings that you can adjust manually. So I will be able to tweak these parameters. I have created a particular preset that's a blank preset. I'm going to load that. So this blank preset is nothing but it will turn off everything. So it is as good as I'm not using this particular VST at all. And now we'll just quickly go through all the settings that are there inside this plugin. So there are basically three things that it can control. Correction is basically how much of EQ correction do you need. So it will try to add a counter EQ to the headphones, and it will try to make your headphones sound as flat as possible. So I personally use M40X. So this is how the frequency response for M40X is. This is how it looks like. And then if I just do 100% correction, you will see that there is a reverse EQ that it is adding and then trying to make it as flat as it can. Also, I can just tweak this to make it even flat. So now it is even flat. But for this video, of course, I'll be using a generic headphones preset because you might not be using the same headphones that I'm using. So this is how generic headphones will have its frequency response, and then I'm just going to make correction as 100%. Apart from correction, there is this room emulation where you can select a particular preset for a room, and then it will try to emulate that particular studio setup on your headphones. And then the third one is, of course, the simulation. So these all parameters that you see is basically your simulation. So for example, if I want to select a studio monitor and simulate that, I can just select and then add how much of frequency response do I need. And then you will see that accordingly the EQ is changing. There are again the 3-band EQ that you can apply just to check how your mix is sounding. And then this is your stereo separation that you can enable, make it stereo, make it mono, and then those same individual parameters are here that can be tweaked. I can again select a particular emulation and then add the ambience. So you will see that the room ambience, as I'm adding it, the simulation EQ is changing accordingly. So if I say select subwoofer and then I add the response, you will see that on the very low end, it is trying to boost on how a subwoofer will sound like. So while making a track, I usually keep this closed, so there is no simulation that I'm applying, no room environment that I have selected. The only thing that I will apply is correction. So let me just load this preset again. So everything is off, and I'll just apply correction to 100%. And at this setting, I will actually go ahead and create all my track. I'll add the instruments, I'll do the mixing. And once I have a decent mix, then I'll try to change these parameters, and then I'll try to do a simulation or select a room environment, and I'll check how the mix is sounding. And if I'm happy with it, I can proceed, or if I want to tweak something, I'll tweak something. So let's get started with the video. The first thing that we are going to add are piano and the chords. So I have already layered 5 different pianos together, and then I have routed them to a bus. So all 5 of them are going to this bus, and then this bus is what is going to my master. Let me quickly play these piano together. Next, I'm going to assign these instruments to mixer track, so that if you are renaming them or changing color at one location, it automatically changes at all other locations. Now that our mixing is done, I am just going to remove the real phones before I actually export it, because this is just for your reference. You don't want to export it with this VST on. So I'm going to turn it off and then remove it. So there is one more setting on real phones which is called easy mode. So if I switch to easy mode, you'll see that most of the settings goes away, and then it becomes very easy to control the real phones. You still have the correction, which is your headphones correction, but now all the other parameters are getting controlled by this environment knob, which is actually defining how much of an emulation you want. And then again, you can select the type of emulation you want, if you need a headphones or earbuds or whatever the emulation that you need. And then instead of a multi-band EQ, you have the brightness knob, which is actually either boosting the high frequencies or boosting the low frequencies. And then you have mono or stereo switch to enable that.